We need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers.
Social justice, power word, power word, power word. Social justice, power word, power word, power word.
Good evening to our friends on the East Coast, good afternoon to our friends on the West Coast, and good in-between time to our friends in the in-between spaces, which we all find ourselves more and more these days, but not tonight, because tonight we have an extraordinarily special show for you. We have musician, film composer, and activist Michael Penn with us, and we couldn't be more over the freaking moon. This is a very exciting evening for us, and thank all you all for joining us. And we do have a huge amount of folks already I can see in our community, so thank you. Those of you who have been with us often or every night, some of you, welcome to the Social Justice Power Hour. Welcome to the virtual headquarters of the Bayard Rustin Center for Social Justice. My name is Robert Seda Schreiber. I am the chief activist and your host for this evening, and especially honored this evening. We have done over 200 of these shows. And we have been here since the pandemic started. When our center in Princeton, New Jersey had to close our doors physically, realizing that our beanbags being 6 feet apart was not keeping our community safe enough, we opened them that very night virtually and have done this power hour every weeknight since. And tonight is a very special night for us to have Michael Penn with us. But since I have you all here and you're a captive audience, I do want to share with you what we have coming up as well. We have some special guests coming up, and every night is special on the Power Hour, whether we have someone like Michael Penn or if we have an inspirational community activist in our community. It's all a special night for us, and mostly and assuredly because you're with us. The Power Hour, as we say often here, we supply the hour, but you, my friends, the community, you supply the power. So thank you for being with us tonight again. Coming up on the show, you might recognize this gentleman. Billy Eichner is going to be with us. Since the pandemic started, he hasn't been able to be on the street. So if there's no Billy on the street, we're going to present to you Billy not on the street, and he'll be with us here in the Power Hour. We're psyched that our friend Frederick Joseph is going to be with us. The Black Friend on Being a Better White Person. It's an incredible book that came out just last week. If you don't have a copy, you should get one for yourselves. A little bit of homework. He'll be on the show having a really empowering conversation. Steve Brodner, you might not know his name, but you know his illustrations. He's been working for The Nation, doing The Greater Quiet for the past these couple of months, and it's beautiful work. It's extraordinary work, and we're thrilled to have him on the show to talk about it. Zen Jodakar is going to be with us. Zane is an incredible transgender author. Their book was just written up in the New York Times. Beautiful thing, and cannot wait to have that conversation. Pete Souza, who you all know, White House photographer under both Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama, will be with us to share some of his famous and favorite photographs and tell us the backstories behind them. And also his film, The Way I See It, on MSNBC right now. Please do check it out. It's really a delightful film. Franklin Leonard, the creator of The Blacklist, will be with us. Anoa Chonga, who is an electoral justice reporter, boots on the ground in Georgia. She was with us the night before Election Day in November. She's coming back to us the night before Election Day in Georgia. No one freaking better than Anoa to tell us what's going on, give us the skinny. She is there in the community. Peniel Joseph, Dr. Peniel Joseph, author of The Sword and the Shield, which is an incredible book exposing the false dichotomy between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. He's been on the show before. He is an incredibly dynamic Black Power scholar. Also proud to say one of the benefits of this pandemic is the relationship that we've cultivated with Peniel. He has become a board member here at the center as well, and we're incredibly proud of that. Gary Trudeau will be with us. Just solidified this week. Doonesbury turns 50 this year. This incredible book, which is a digital, it's a flash drive of every single Doonesbury comic strip, a sort of wire-bound Bible of all the strips, a poster, all these collectibles, and gosh, to be able to talk to Gary for an hour is going to be something special, so do tune in for that as well. And finally, a week from tonight, our old friend Jill Sobule will be back with us. We had a pre-brain surgery shindig for her. It was an incredibly successful night. We had thousands of folks tuning in. We raised thousands of dollars for her. She'll be back with us next week, post-brain surgery. She's doing incredibly well, my friends. Talked to her today, and she is as beautiful and lively as ever, and we cannot wait to have her back with us next week to share her good health and her good spirit. And also, before we bring Michael on, I do want to tell y'all, I do know that this holiday season especially is going to be difficult for many of us. So I want you to know that the BRCSJ Center for Social Justice will be here for you. We are holding a holiday safe space spectacular. We're going to have all sorts of folks with us. We're lining up guests right now. It's going to be a phenomenal evening. We want to be there for you to make sure that you are feeling safe and respected and loved during these holidays, as we all should. Whether you're with family or chosen family, biological or otherwise, we are your family as well, and we'll be with you. That's December 23rd. And then on the actual day of Christmas, our old friend and renowned folk musician David Berhinsky will be joining us for an extra special holiday sing-along. So we have some community to share on that day as well. If you need or want it, we will be there for you. That's what we do. That's how we are. But tonight, let's get to our guest tonight. I have to tell you again, this is really extraordinary. Michael Penn is a critically acclaimed singer, songwriter, and film composer, and has carefully and passionately coupled his extraordinary musicianship with bold activism. His debut album, March, was released in 1990. Oh, I kind of feel old. For which he was nominated and received an MTV, if you remember that, Video Music Award for Best New Artist. He released a few subsequent critically acclaimed and staggeringly beautiful albums before focusing attention solely on film scores such as Hard 8, Boogie Nights, and The Anniversary Party, among many others, as well as the TV machine for the HBO show Girls. Well, actually not, it was HBO, so it's not TV, right? That's what I've heard. Vox magazine called him pig-headedly uncommercial, but conceded the payoff is sublime. Writing, his free-form songwriting creates tracks of startling shape and originality, offering literate reflections on the human condition. So true. In 2020, Penn released his first new single in 15 years, a revival, out now and pretty much worth the wait, honestly. With all proceeds, by the way, going to the economic justice nonprofit, the Poor People's Campaign. This is indeed the only full-length conversation in which Michael is engaging about the new song and his wonderful reemergence on the national stage. So we're obviously thrilled and honored to have him here on our BRCSJ Center for Social Justice Power Hour. So please join me without further ado in welcoming the oh-so-delightful Michael Penn to our virtual stage, my friends. Michael, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Great to be with you, Robert.
Really, I don't know if you could tell, I'm a little, this is very exciting. I am personally a fan from way back in the day, and you gave us such a perfect excuse to have you on the show. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank you. And if you think you feel old, I really feel old.
Well, you look fantastic, my friend. You are a handsome man. And we're going to get you, by the way, when we start to tell a story and we give you full screen, we're going to get you on Room Raider too. We're going to make sure All right, let's get right to it because there's so much I want to talk about. And I know we're going to get into the after party. We're going to go after 8 o'clock tonight, and Prince will be proud of us. But there's so much I want to talk to you about. And let's start with the new song. The new song, A Revival, is a beautiful piece. I want to know, our community wants to know, Why now? What prompted you after 15 years, after doing beautiful film scores and doing incredible work in that field? What prompted you to reemerge as a singer-songwriter and release this new song?
Well, it wasn't really about reemerging as anything. It was more about the pandemic, closed down Hollywood. So there was no production. And I was fucking bored. And we're in the world that we're living in is so insane, and it's the only thing that I would ever want to write about. So I just started to write, and I wrote a batch of songs, and I take forever. So I started recording one of them because, again, boredom is my friend, and put the first one out, and that's what a revival is. Is just the first one I wanted to finish because I really wanted to get that one out before the election for obvious reasons.
So did you expect the response that you got? I mean, the response has been incredibly not only positive but loud. There's been so much, especially on the Twitter machine. So many folks are so incredibly excited about it. Did you feel that was going to happen? Did you have that sense?
No, I still don't really have a sense of that because I don't really understand, what the numbers of Twitter means. I don't understand what the reality of releasing music in a world where music is no longer purchased, but what you buy is access to it. So it's the whole model is something I'm not familiar with. So I can't gauge any kind of response about it, really. But I wanted to get it out into the world, and I wanted to try to get some money to Poor People's Campaign, and that was the main impetus of the whole thing.
And I mean, that's the other part of it that is so inspiring, because here's a beautiful piece of music that in and of itself carries this message that's so important right now and really resonated. I think that's what it was. Not only is it a beautiful piece of music, but there's a resonance to it that really affected people, I think. But also that all proceeds go to the Poor People's Campaign.
Yeah.
And, right now, so important, especially right now.
Yeah.
So that was definitely part of your mindset as well.
That was part of my mindset, and it was also just kind of one of the most important aspects of this insane era that we're living in is the specific. It's hard to describe. Let me just start talking and see what happens.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, most people sort of assume that I'm writing about Trump, and I am writing about Trump, and I think that the response, to whatever extent it was a good one, was a relief for a lot of people to hear me sort of confidently say before the election that he was going to be out of there. But it's not really. It's as much. It's not really about Trump as much as it's about this idea that Trump sort of represents, which is the flaw in the DNA of the country, which is the Confederacy, which is this bastardization of Christianity, this occult, heretical bastardization of Christianity that says that your worth in the eyes of God is dependent upon the level of melanin in your system. I mean, that's really what it was about, and that's what needs to be gone, and that's what I'm confident is going to be gone one day.
So I just want to throw this out here. There are folks already asking, is there going to be a new album? You mentioned a bunch of songs. So given the way you work, I figure that's what, 2022 or so, that when we see it.
Man, you got confidence in me. First of all, I don't, again, thinking about how music is sort of consumed these days, the album is sort of a relic. So I'm just going to, if I have the time, finish these songs and put them out and not think about it as an album. And if it winds up being 12 songs, maybe I'll paint a picture for it and people can collect it on their computer with a cover or something. I don't know.
I think there are a lot of people who would love that very, very much. Now, for some folks in our audience who haven't heard the new song or haven't seen the video, and let's be explicit now so everyone understands. We've been teasing folks about this conversation as though there's that old Martin Mull quote that you first used when we were talking about this, which is it is writing about music is like dancing about architecture. And so we bastardized it and said talking about music is like dancing about architecture. And that's what we're doing tonight. But believe me, I don't believe that at all, that this is such already a wonderful conversation. But we do want to play some music for folks. I do want those in our community who might not have heard the song to hear it. And our dedicated volunteer, Chris, will be putting up links to get to it and access it with all your stuff. And thank you, Chris, for always being here. Really appreciate your time and your energy. And I also do want folks to know that Michael and may I mention the gentleman from Largo?
Mark Flanagan, yeah.
Mark Flanagan was kind enough to give us a couple of really rarely seen live footage from Largo back in the day, and we're going to show those later on this show too, so something to look forward to. Stay tuned, true believers. But right now, let's look at a revival, and let's let folks hear the song and see the video, and we'll come back and talk more about it afterwards. So here it is, everybody. Michael Penn's first new song in 15 years, a revival.
All these movers and shakers, they got nothing on you. You could buy 'em and sell 'em tomorrow, or charm them all with your review. 'Cause you were given the kingdom and presented the keys. But you won't feel the emptiness felt until everyone's down on their knees. But can you hear it coming? A revival. Oh, there's good news coming. 'Cause we agreed, had a deal, commonweal. You got the look of a winner, and you got zero-sum game. And each body that falls in the ditch, well, he's just got his own self to blame. 'Cause you believe in an order, any place where you place. And the red line you drew is a bloodline. It's you who'll be winning this race. But I can hear it coming, a revival. Oh, there's good news coming. 'Cause we agreed, had a deal, commonweal. Soon you'll be gone, you'll be gone. And you'll be gone, you'll be long, long, long gone. So you better get ready. Better tear down those gods. There were heretics, traitors, and dunces. Well, who'd have guessed what were the odds? When they said you were special, always right, never wrong. So clearly it is it's destiny that the world is all yours, not for long. 'Cause I can hear it coming, a revival. Oh, there's good news coming. Love is real, sealed the deal, common will.
Gorgeous, my friend. Just simply gorgeous. I mean,
Thanks, man.
it's amazing. One, your voice is stronger than ever. In fact, I really believe that there's a passion to it that's even more affecting. And I've heard this song. I played this song so many times, and it still catches me in my throat.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I am so filled with self-loathing that I can't judge anything I do. And in fact, I wasn't going to do any new recording of songs or anything unless I could find a producer, because I didn't want to produce myself anymore because I have so little objectivity about it. But I really appreciate you saying that.
And I don't blow smoke. Folks know when they watch the show, nothing but I shoot myself in the foot too much by being too honest and too frank. This is an extraordinary piece of work. May I ask you about the video too? How much?
Yes. So I want to just shout out to Rachel Lickman, who made the video and did a wonderful, wonderful job with a brilliant idea of quoting the parallax view. I don't know if you've seen the parallax view, but it was a very inspired notion, because especially when you consider that we had to do a video in a couple of days.
I'm really upset that you said that, because I wanted to sound smart and bring it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I blew your thing.
No, we have many things to get to. No worries. It's such a strong message, and the footage is so well placed, and the images are so smart and fit so well. It's an amazing thing that it was done, and I know it was done in such a short time. And above and beyond that, it's just a gorgeous piece.
Thank you, man.
So we do have some folks asking questions and people sending regards from France and from Chile. So we have a lot of your fans and friends here. And I just want to give a couple of folks a chance. Jules says, thank you for sharing your amazing talents with us over and over. I think they're talking about you, but I'll take it from me. Thanks so much. That's nice of you to say. Carol Watchler, who's the community outreach coordinator here at the center, says, thanks for letting us see and hear this amazing juxtaposition of images and beautiful voice. Mike says, everything that Rachel does is awesome. Of course, this video is great. Remy, who gave regards from France, I believe, asked, who else plays in the song? Oh,
there's a pandemic on, man. That's all me.
That's all you. That's amazing. That's really phenomenal. And someone who earlier in the comments, and I can't find it, but says they met you and Amy, your lovely bride, outside of, in case you don't know, Michael's married to the extraordinary Amy Mann, outside the ATL Variety Theater. And you both were just wonderful and very magnanimous to that person, and they thank you for it.
That's nice to hear.
So let's do this. I want to talk about the birth of your activism, of how you found, beyond your music, you're a strong advocate and ally and activist. And my first question is this: how much of it? I know that your dad was blacklisted, if you don't mind me mentioning, because that must have been something that affected you in your youth, and then probably carried that through into creating your voice as an activist?
Well, for one thing, first off, I don't think of myself as an activist. I hope that my beliefs are expressed in what I do in my art. But if that qualifies, then I'll accept it. But yeah, my father, who fought in World War II, was a very principled and ethical guy who was very progressive in his political views. He spent however many years in the European theater fighting fascism, and came back to America. And he was an actor in New York, and because he had an interest in justice, went to some speeches and some meetings of some people who were on the left side of the political spectrum. And he was a Roosevelt Democrat. I mean, he wasn't a communist, but they labeled him as such, and he was blacklisted and could not get work for a long time.
And growing up and seeing that, did that inform your later work and how you saw the world and the unjust way that we treat not only those we think that who are different and who don't share the same values as us?
Well, sure. I mean, I think the main thing that it taught me was that there's an aspect to the political reality that's just unbelievably cynical, and only about power, which has come to frightening fruition now. And these were scare tactics that were used to consolidate power, and it had nothing to do with anybody's real convictions about anything. I mean, there's the Truman quote about socialism that, anytime anybody wants to do something good for the people, they try to label it socialism, because they don't want to be taxed. They don't want their money touched. And they don't acknowledge that they use the same roads that we use, that they use the same infrastructure that we use, that they benefit from all of these things. So that's just been the way it's been. And especially after the war, with the consolidation of European and American corporate interests, they were on a mission to dismantle the New Deal from the time it was enacted. And they keep trying to chip away at it, and they're still at it now. So I saw that at an early age. I saw what was going on at an early age through what happened to my father, and through the things that he was active about and were important to him. And it did definitely impress me. And the most impressive thing actually about my dad was he was never bitter about it. He was just like, I'm gonna find a way to make my life work, and he ultimately did. He moved to LA because television there were two waves of the blacklist on the East Coast, and because television production was sort of more vast than the limitations of theater on the East Coast, and movies here and TV here, he moved out here and started to get work. But at first he had to use fake names because he was still on that list.
And he was a veteran, right? You mentioned that.
Oh, yeah, decorated.
Yeah. This is a man who served his country, who fought in the war, and comes back, and then this is such a blight on our nation and such a black mark on our history. But we don't seem to learn from it, do we? We don't seem to move forward. We always get stuck back. Whether we make any progress, we seem to always pull back.
Well, but that's the cost of democracy, unfortunately. I mean, I think that's what the Fabians sort of finally realized, was that progress happens slowly, really slowly, and it's painful. And you just inch forward, and then you move back a bit, and you inch forward, and that's but that's the fight.
And you are so modest and self-effacing, and I don't think you understand and see, and I want to make this really crystal. It's the reason, as big a fan as I am, and I am way back in the day, huge. I have all of your CDs and CDs. When I say CDs, I mean CDs.
What, no vinyl, man?
I think I have one on cassette. I think I do have
Okay.
right? I think that March did come out on cassette. So I think I do have that.
March was the only one that came out on vinyl, but it was like the last wave of vinyl.
Yeah. But above and beyond my being a fanboy, I asked you here because your voice, both as a musician and as an activist with a capital A, there's no denying that, because whatever talents we have, whatever spirit we have, whatever energy we have, whatever time we spend in the bettering of the lives of others, in the looking at communities and seeing how we can raise them up, that's activism, and that's what you do, and that's why we're so thankful for you using your voice in that way, both literally and figuratively. And I know that's tough. I know that's tough for you to hear. So let's go to one of those really special things we have to show the folks tonight. We have a couple of rarely seen bits of footage from way back in the day at this club called Largo, which was kind of like an enchanted place back in the day.
It was indeed. And
you were telling me that the owner did not allow any sort of cameras or recording of any of the.
No, he was very strict about it. No, it was a place where it was all about the moment and the experience of being there, and it was very rare that he sort of sanctioned some filming or recording.
And I believe that our old friend Jill Sobule, who'll be on next week, was a member of this kind of folks who performed at this really special kind of sacrosanct place.
It still exists. It's just he moved to a new location and it's larger, but the original place definitely holds a very special place in my heart.
And a shout out, because he is releasing things during the pandemic. I believe that they're putting some things out for folks, so do check it out as well. I always want to give
on his Instagram. They're showing stuff. Yeah,
I always want to raise up everybody's chance to see and hear these things that other folks are doing, and we're so thankful for him for allowing us to show this. Now, at the beginning of this footage, you are actually heckled by a member of the audience. Do you want to share now who that is, or do you want to do it when we come back?
No, I'll share it now. I think it. I mean, everybody that was in the club knew who it was, so why not? When I was playing Largo, when Amy and I were playing Largo, we would sometimes do shows together there. I'm massively uncomfortable on stage, and one of the reasons I got out of being a singer-songwriter was because I realized that I couldn't be Harry Nilsson and just make records and not ever tour. I actually had to go out and play live, and one of the most uncomfortable aspects of performance for me was talking between songs. And so we had this notion, and Amy sort of felt the same way. So we had this notion that, well, we become really good friends with these comedians who performed at Largo, and why don't we just have them come up on stage and be us and talk between songs? So that developed, and then Patton would often do it for me, and then sometimes he would then go out into the audience and just start heckling me, and that's what you're hearing on this tape.
And that's Patton Oswalt, who I want to share with the audience. For those of you who didn't get to see it, Patton, his magnanimous self, his wonderful, delightful self, was actually on the Power Hour just a couple of weeks ago. And if you didn't get a chance to see it, all of our Power Hours, by the way, are archived on our Facebook page. And you don't need to be a member of Facebook, have a Facebook page yourself to watch our stuff. We're a nonprofit. It's a public page. No sacrifice of children of Facebook. No pay on to the almighty Zuckerberg. So you can check out all the archives of pretty amazing folks who have been on Power Hour. But this video, this is what we promised to show folks. So let's show this bit of magic. This is really a wonderful piece of stuff right here. So let's watch this.
Dear Michael, my love for you will always be in tune. Just set it on sensitive songwriter and go.
The fire that this town can see is me lighting effigy. I suppose baby don't want me around. She threw my stuff into a pit and laughed aloud as I dove after it. I suppose baby don't want me around. Is this the place you wanna be? Out of the woods, out of control. And is it really only me who never gets here with you? She changed the number, changed the lock, a rubber door in case I knock. I suppose baby don't want me around. Is this a place you wanna be? Out of the woods, out of control. And is it really only me who never gets here with you? Looking up your balcony, by the light of the moon I will be. I suppose baby don't want me around. The stars above me are not real. They are the sparks of smitten steel. And I propose fortune is making that sound. Baby don't want me around. Baby don't want me. I suppose my baby don't want me around.
That was a long time ago.
That was gorgeous. My gosh. I mean,
I just point out that was Peter Adams on piano and Buddy Judge on vocals and percussion with me there.
really just phenomenal setup. Just the sound of it is just phenomenal. Your voice is so just gorgeous. I mean, and I know it's a word I used before, but I cannot think of a more apt term.
Thank you, man.
You know, and I know it's difficult for you to perform, and we were talking about this, and you know, I would love to talk about this for a minute too. There's a certain again anxiety that you feel about being on stage, and you know, I think that's important to give voice to, because it allows, you know, our community to see that, you know, I know that I have the same difficulties. You know, and sometimes it's empowering because it allows you to push through it, but other times it becomes something that takes away from an experience for you.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of the reasons touring was so difficult for me. And you know, look, everybody's got a childhood, and it's just math, and I got issues, and they show up in the ways that they show up, and I deal with them as best as I can. And I'm a giant advocate for therapy, and I'm a giant advocate for Al-Anon, and I'm a giant advocate for anything that helps people. But it's important that if you have things that are hindering you, to seek out help and not be afraid to ask for help.
We so appreciate you being so honest and open about that. It is so meaningful for our community to hear someone they look up to like you, someone who they hear on stage and see being so powerfully voiced on stage, but know that there are these difficulties and these frailties that we all share as well.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, yeah. You bet.
So you wanted to show a video tonight. You want to show an older song, Walter Reed, and
Yeah.
we want to show that next. And can you tell us why you chose this song? Why you wanted to show this tonight?
Well, it relates to what we were talking about earlier. I was sort of realizing that I was transitioning to becoming a composer, and that for me to have a life as a singer-songwriter was not really tenable, because anybody who's a singer-songwriter, they don't make money from making records. One does not make money from making records anymore, unless you're, Taylor Swift, because it's transitioned to this sort of payment system that has to do with paying for sort of global access to libraries of music, and the trickle down effect to an artist is so ridiculous. And I was somebody who really believed in the potential of the internet as something that could really help artists, in the sense that for my level of popularity, when I had my 15 minutes, what the internet promised to me was, oh, I can record digitally, put it out on the internet, and not have to pay these crazy labels the kind of money that they take, because they take everything. So I could actually make a living. But that became, okay, that's not going to happen. So it was like, did I want to be a touring musician? No. So anyway, so I made this. I knew this was my sort of letter of retirement. This album, the last album I made. So this was 15 years ago, roughly, and I sort of wanted to make it. I was thinking about my father, who had passed away about 15 years before that, or something, or 10 years before that, and so I wanted to write this record about a guy who comes back from World War II, and write just about personal stuff, but within that context. And this song is the opening song from the album. And I don't know if you know about Walter Reed is the hospital in DC that was the first place to deal with what we now call post-traumatic stress syndrome, but at the time was called shell shock. And it felt like the nation had a personality that was in need of that kind of help. And so I wrote this guy as sort of subbing for the country itself. I don't know. This is convoluted, but trust me, this is actually what I was thinking. And so there are sort of things in the video that sort of hint at what I'm talking about. But it was just an amazing period of American history, and I was fascinated by it. And so I stuck all the songs in that period of history, 1947.
All right. So without further ado, it's Walter Reed from about 15 years ago.
Count the cases piled up high for the 150. The platform meant for passerby. It's the same routine. I'm ranting while I'm raving. There's nothing here worth saving. Tell me now, what more do you need? Take me to Walter Reed tonight. Baby, I lost the will for fighting over everything. Well, there's a few things I gotta say. Make no mistake, I'm mad. 'Cause every good thing I've had abandoned me. All I wanna do is hide. It's graduation day. everything I learned inside didn't seem to pay.